All right, Big Bang. Today is Monday. It's July 12th. Welcome to the Dog Walk presented by Barstool Sports. Snake Draft Monday. We have a guest in studio. We also have a guest on Zoom in studio filling in for Carl, but also first timer.
First time.
We got Chef Donny.
How's it going? Happy to be here.
Hey, happy that you're here. And then we got Tommy Smokes on Zoom.
Hello, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Neurotic Tom was, this is your second appearance. What was your draft that you were on?
Power moves.
That's right.
Best power moves.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Basically all awkward dinner situations or like.
Yeah, they were. I really cornered the restaurant market there. I have less restaurant-based picks today.
But not zero.
But some restaurant-based picks.
Not zero, but not zero.
But not zero. Interesting draft today. So, Chef Donny is a man. You're a man of two things at this point, right? At Barstool, you like. You're obviously a chef. It's in your name. And your new series is called Die Trying, where you just do a bunch of shit that you could possibly die in.
Yeah, that's basically it. Cooking and coming close to death.
That's a good market to be in, I feel. That's people, like, everyone's going to die, everyone's going to eat.
Do you think about your last meal a lot since you're going to die soon?
I actually
What
don't.
would be your last meal?
I have never thought about
question.
that. Honestly, I actually, maybe like a huge roast pig. It's just like the biggest thing you can eat, and then just eat and slowly die or however it takes me out. But just have a nice big roast, something on a spit.
Yeah, a little bit of everything
All
there.
right.
Yeah.
There you
like
go.
that.
Something
I like
extravagant. Yeah, something with like a big presence, I think.
There you go. I like that. So, the snake draft today, the topic will be worst ways to die. And, you suggested it, and I was like, yeah, that's actually great. And you should also, I was like, we need another guest. I was like, who'd be good at HQ? You know these guys. And you suggested Tom, and, Neurotic Tom, I think that's a great pick.
I think this is a natural category for Tom.
I thought he'd have a bunch of
Yeah.
just odd ones. So
Yeah, you
I'm
wanted
curious.
the two Office Daredevils on the same draft. I get that. Yeah, no, I'm very afraid to die. I know there's like a lot of people, especially at Barstool, I feel like KFC and fights maybe, but there's others where it's like, oh, I don't care if I die. Big Cat too. I very much don't want to die. So I think about it a lot, the different ways it can happen.
Yeah, and I don't know. You're a natural fit for this.
When Ed said that you
mine
were
are
coming on,
almost
we were all like,
more-
Tommy's perfect for it.
Mine are almost more like ways I fear dying than worst ways. I don't know. It's a little bit of mix of both. So I think like I want more realistic things that can happen to me is sort of the vibe I'm going for.
Okay. I like that.
I like that.
That's
And
Yeah.
I think, we should say, I don't know, like, listen, this is a comedy podcast, so just enjoy it. I don't know, we're sorry if you know someone that's died in this way and it hits too close to home, because I did think of that. Did anyone else think of that or no?
Yeah, a little bit, but
Yeah,
I
but-
think most of us are going to go so far outside the box that the chances of that actually happening are pretty slim.
It's kind of fucked up too, because we are recording this way early. So I know this is airing on July 12th. It's also June 30th. It'd be fucked up if one of us died before this too.
Oh my God.
Knock on wood. Fuck.
But I want to be on the record that if I do die before this airs, I want it to air anyways.
Okay. We will air
Will you
it then.
promise that?
Yeah, we'll air it. Well,
Okay.
I mean, you might have to make the decision. I might be dead. Who knows? So we don't know who won the other one, the 2 weeks ago draft yet, because it's still in the polls.
I won.
You're up big right now. Because what did he do, Dave?
No, I mean,
He pandered.
No, I didn't pander.
Interesting.
I didn't
Ed, what do you
pander.
think?
We got a couple of excuse machines over here. They're trying to. I have one pick, and they say that that's a pander pick because I took
It was
Michael
not
Jordan.
only a painter pick; it was a Carl Lever.
I mean,
painter
that
pick.
is. I know this is like the show. I'm actually getting mad for you comparing me to Carl. I don't want to be Carl. He's disgusting with that. I took a guy who exported our culture to the rest of the world, who is an American icon. I'm sorry if you guys didn't get there in your brain, but I was sitting on that one the whole time.
You
I
know
didn't
what?
want JFK.
I don't believe you.
What do you mean you don't believe me?
I just don't believe you. You're gonna take this to your death, which I admire.
This is
and
all.
I appreciate.
There's no
but I don't
pander, all
believe you.
slander, and that's the polls reflect that.
Can we get a word from the commissioner
Well,
on what he thinks?
I'll say that we'll move aside to that because we could argue in circles forever about that. But we just should mention we didn't say it on the last show, and we talked about it on social media. I don't know how many people are crossing over or whatever. Dave took the same item of food as he did in the international draft as in the America draft, and That doesn't seem like that works.
I feel like he should have had to take frozen pizza.
You said yesterday on social media, and like you said, June 30th right now, you said yesterday on Tuesday the 29th that you can see my point. And my point is that it's an Italian food, but pizza in and of itself, everything that goes with it. Like I said yesterday on social media, what was the first overall pick of the draft yesterday? Or last week, rather.
Football.
What do you do at a fucking Super Bowl party? You get a gaggle of pizzas ordered, right? You turn 12 years old. You go to a fucking pizza party.
Didn't we actually veto
pizza?
Yeah, we did. We did.
Yeah. We voted pizza from the Super Bowl draft.
We American as fuck. Well, tough. We vetoed it because he tried to draft it as an appetizer.
Who did?
Steven Shea did.
Oh, well, regardless, Dave, you're...
I'm vindicated.
You just consistently make things harder on yourself, and that's my point.
And then blame everybody else.
No, but Ed, first of all, you're a huge pussy because you believe me and you wouldn't admit it.
How?
Yesterday,
I said it on the show and I said it on camera, you dumb guy.
No, you didn't. I said, Ed, do you agree with me?
Yes,
and you
but I said you got to understand.
And you just kept changing the fucking subject. And you wouldn't answer it. And we have it all on video. But Danny cut it out of the social clip.
I'm saying you got to understand the optics of you taking in both. That's my point.
Yeah, of course I do. And I knew that. Like I said, I knew that I was doing that. That's why I started all slow. And I was like, I know what you guys are going to say. I know what you're going to do.
All right. Regardless.
And I thought you guys were going to fucking cause an uproar.
Producers having a full-on conversation while we're doing the show.
And also, can I suggest something from this point forward? Can I suggest no drafting pizza or Michael Jordan for things now? Because it's just fucking... I'm sick of them.
I don't know. We'll burn that bridge when we get to it. Regardless, let's continue with this. Tommy Smokes on the edge of his seat thinking about death, so we'll do that.
Yeah. I've really got to pee, but I think I'm going to try to hold it the whole time.
Do you want to go now?
Can you die from that?
Yeah. You can... I'll be more neurotic with a full bladder.
You know what? I looked up. I don't know spoilers, but you could actually die from that. Did you know that?
Oh, what?
You could
Eddie,
die.
You don't think? You know what? All right, fucking Eddie.
Yeah, tell him like broke on the show.
There he goes. Okay, we'll just do the order then. Well, he's gone, so he's gonna get fucked on this, but it is what it is.
Well, he should have peed before.
He should have. Yeah. Chef Donny, social media. Danny is number 1 through 5 behind his back. What is it?
3.
2.
1.
5. Fuck. Give me 2. I'll go 2. Chef Donny, 1 through 4. What is it?
3. Fuck.
I know, dude. It's scary.
I don't know. This is my first one. What do you suggest?
No, that's...
I'm not giving
I'm
you
gonna
a
go.
handout.
I'll go first.
Okay.
Okay.
1 through 3, Chief.
1. I'll take 3.
Okay. 1 or 2, White Sox
1.
Dave.
Take 5. So Tommy's 4th.
All right, Tommy, you got...
that was the quickest...
You're 4th overall, okay?
How small is your bladder?
But it's not... I go often, but not a lot.
Do you got a Carl bladder? He pisses more than a fucking Cocker Spaniel.
I've diagnosed myself with... I think I have a sensitive tip. Like, I think I just feel it in my tip more often than, like... It's not like I pee a lot. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's just... the feeling of needing to piss really bad happens for you.
Yes.
Okay, I understand.
A sensitive tip.
I feel it in my tip. I know some people feel it in their balls. I feel it in my tip.
You have to pee in your balls?
I feel it in my... You don't feel it on your balls like you take a bus to like a concert?
I don't.
No.
I feel it in my tip.
No, I don't think I've ever...
My abs, my bladder.
I don't think your
Yeah.
I don't think your balls have a single thing to do with urination.
You never done that? Like you take like a 45-minute bus to like Tinley and your balls are dragging on the floor
I
because
don't
they're so
feel
full?
it. You might want to go to the doctor. Your balls are not...
Shut
up. Your balls are not
Is this
full.
a joke?
This is a bit.
No, it's not.
Yes,
I
it
agree
is.
with Tommy.
Nobody
Tommy
feels-
said... I didn't say it. Tommy said
No,
it.
I
said
don't
it.
feel it. I don't feel it in my balls.
No
I
one-
thought other people.
No one has to pee. No one
Where
has
do
that
your
sensation.
balls have anything to do
No.
with urination?
I think you have to jerk off. That means I don't think you have to pee.
Right.
This guy says he feels in the tip, and I'm the weird one?
I think it's more... Yeah, I kind of understand what he's saying more than you. Feel it in your balls. Your balls don't fill up.
The worst is when you can't walk, like you're hunched over when you're walking because you held it for so long. That's bad.
I did that bus trip. I was 15, I think. It was my sophomore year. We had like a 3-hour bus ride. I had to pee when I got on the bus. I had to pee so badly that I got over the urinal when we finally got to, like, we were playing football somewhere. I couldn't pee. I was holding it for so long. Like, I just stood there for like 3 minutes until my brain was able to be like, yeah, release the pee.
You just gutted it?
Yeah.
Damn.
I've had a few bad moments too. We can get there.
I felt like I was going to die.
All right, but without further ado, the draft order is Donnie, Eddie, Chief, Tommy, White Sox, Dave. Donnie, you're on the clock, man.
All right. First one I'm going with, which is I think is very gruesome. This would be the worst way to die. Would be to be hanged, drawn, and quartered. So what they do, this is like many people died this way back in medieval times. They'd hang you, and just before you'd pass out and die from strangulation, they'd take you off the noose. Then they would tie ropes to all 4 of your limbs and then attach them to mules. And they would hit the mules, and the mules would run as fast as they can, and your body would rip open. Every limb would rip off at the same time.
That's William Wallace, right? Isn't that what they did to William Wallace? They pulled his arms and shit apart. They put one limb at the corner of the kingdom.
I'm not sure. I can't back that up, but I just know hang, drawn, and quartered would be the worst way to fucking just everything gets ripped apart.
But do you die instantly? Because that's going to be a common question around here.
I think it's a slow. I mean, I don't know. I think you would from just shock after. I don't know if you die instantly, but I think once all your limbs get ripped off, I think you slowly die.
That'll probably do it.
You're gonna die for sure.
I have a funny visual of that happening to Dave. And he's just like,
what's funny about that?
Well, he's just like laying there like his keg body with no limbs. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be funny. His face is disgusting.
I mean, that's fucked up. It's really fucked up.
I'm sorry. I just picture you laying there like fucking, what's the...
I don't have the best stomach
like
for
Towley.
This kind of shit. It's Towley. What about Towley?
I don't know, Mr. Hanky, the
don't
Christmas
forget
poo.
to bring a towel.
Yeah, I just picture you like just like a turd, like just a keg body, just laying there with a beard.
The image of everything Donnie did, that
your
kind
beard
of,
continues to grow after you're dead.
I know.
So what?
Just imagine the sound of that.
Haven't you
all
seen
your limbs being ripped off? The sound.
Was it
that
The
would
Sopranos with the fingernails and the beard and shit?
Yeah. Can you imagine your face after you've been dead for a few days?
Wouldn't be pretty. Wouldn't be pretty.
Smokes. Does this sound?
So my only question is, would this be in like a town square? Would there be an audience?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's in front of the whole audience. People come to watch this.
See that I'm kind of down for. I almost put getting beheaded, but if I'm going to be in the town square, it's like today we're beheading Tommy. That I kind of would be excited.
Anything for the content. You're a slave to content.
I get a little moment right before I go out, like it's my day. Like that doesn't sound so bad.
I don't know. Think of this happening on White Sox Dave. The last words he'd have, "You cocksuckers laying there as 4 mules are about to pull him dry."
Oh. Just the popping of the joints, though. That's got to be the worst.
Oh, yeah.
Every joint pops. Your hips pop.
Shoulders.
Yeah, fuck that.
Oh, I got the willies just thinking about all this.
You don't
this
like
also isn't something that I really feel like can happen to me. Knock on wood. Like, I feel like we're a little bit past getting hanged, drawn, and quartered. So this isn't something I've thought about too much, but it does sound extremely painful, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, this is. I wonder how it's gonna you went medieval. Then there's a lot of medieval things.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yes,
they used to be fucked up. So I wonder how much is gonna be that versus prevalent ways.
I've got a mix.
Yeah.
I mean, in that vein, I'm second. I'm up next. I'm just gonna go with the one that's prevalent, and it's very chalky, but it's fucking terrifying, and it's a fire. It's getting burnt. It's fucking. I couldn't imagine.
I don't even like burning myself while cooking. Like if you think about extrapolating that out to like the open, like you know how people put their finger through the flame too, as like a part. Like I won't even do that.
Dude, the people who like jump over a fire too, like just
walk on coals. None of that.
You probably do that shit,
dude. Last summer, like a year ago today, I tried and I fell in, and my entire leg. I had the fucking worst burn, like 3rd-degree burn on my leg. So yeah, it's painful. Being in a fire would be terrifying. It's slow. It's a slow death too. It's not instant.
Yeah,
you're slowly burning.
Oh man.
I was at a bonfire when I was like, I don't know, 16, 17, and we were roasting marshmallows, and a buddy of mine had one on a stick, and it was on fire, and he was flicking it, trying to put the flame out so he could put it on the s'more or whatever, and it flicked and hit my other buddy in the neck, right in the fucking jugular, and he had to go to the hospital for it. It was bad.
Similar thing. I have a buddy who would consistently light himself on fire.
What?
Yes.
The fuck?
This guy, he was stuck in the 70s, and he just loved doing like Daredevil kind of shit. and he would like douse his fucking jeans, his black jeans, and just like gasoline and shit. And he would always do it, but he'd be nearby like a pool, and then he'd jump right in. One time he did it because there was a hot tub nearby, but the case was the top was locked. Burned the fuck out of his legs.
Oh, fuck that. It's so painful. And it's painful for a while after. A fucking long time.
Yeah. But like I said, man, it's very chalk, but it's also very real, and it's terrifying, and a lot of people have died that way. And if you're in a building and you can't get out, and I know, like, I don't know how bad it is to, do the smoke inhalation, but that's probably better than, right? Or I don't know.
Probably. I don't know.
Even though I know that's not fun either.
I think the smoke inhalation is way easier.
After these first two picks, I'm like ready to just go and apply for my conceal and carry license. So if I'm ever in one of these situations, I can just end my own misery.
Yeah. Take it. Yeah. No. Fire.
Ugh.
Smokes.
Imagine you're just in a burning building. You just whip out a gun.
That's not. I didn't want to bring it up, but I had the visual of 9/11, people jumping out of the Trade Center because they're burning alive from the jet fuel, and they're like, "Oh, I'd rather just splat to my death 100 stories below me than deal with the fire that I'm like being tortured by."
They said that most of those people, if not all, they died before they hit the ground.
Really?
Yeah, because they're like the heart attack from the adrenaline, like all, and the sensation of falling.
I could see that, or I could see you passing out before you hit the ground, for sure passing out.
See, I don't understand how that works.
That would be excellent.
Because do a lot of people die skydiving then?
A lot of people do pass out skydiving, but you have like in modern day parachutes, there's like a little altimeter built called AAD built in, so when like can tell that you're a certain like height above the ground going too fast, it'll automatically shoot like a reserve shootout for you. So people do pass out and just go into a spin, and if they're not going to wake up, that'll sometimes save your life. You'll probably break your legs for sure, but it'll save your life.
So is there like something?
I like how it only took 2 picks for us to get to 9/11 talk.
I mean, you're the one who kind of brought it up.
Well, you brought it up.
No, I didn't. You brought up the gun.
You said like in a burning building. And I was like, I had that visual.
Many buildings.
A lot of buildings burned.
It was the whole purpose was like the alternative is I'd rather jump out of this fucking skyscraper than being burned alive.
Correct, but like that still applies in a 6-story building too, dude.
But I don't know if you guarantee death jumping out of a 6-story building.
Yeah. I don't know. Regardless, but I wonder if it's something psychologically where like those people like knew they were going to die, so they had the heart attack before versus skydiving. You'd think you're gonna. I don't know. Does that make sense?
I think it has to do with like some part of your equilibrium too. If you're like falling and like you're just not used, your body's not used to that. Like your body naturally goes into like a response
shock mode.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, burning in a fire is my pick. 2 overall. I think it's pretty strong. Chief, you're up.
Alone. Just picking alone. Just dying alone. So you're just miserable. You're alone. You're at 90. You just have this miserable life for like 50, 40 years. And you're just alone. So you're dying alone. You don't like that?
No.
That's not. I think that's not a way you die, though.
Sure, it is.
It is.
Fuck yeah, it is. You just live out your days.
I guess you could.
Yeah, that I would say is one of my biggest fears.
I believe you 1,000% right now.
Yeah. Okay.
1,000% right now.
So you just live out the next 50, 60 years with nothing?
What does that mean?
And then you just drop
dead? It doesn't mean nothing. But I'll just say that I believe Chief wholeheartedly that he does not want to die alone.
I do not want to die alone. So
I think the worst part of that would be if like nobody finds you for a week or so.
So I don't think I would care about that.
See, here, like
I don't care what happens to my body after I'm dead. I'm more.
What do you mean? That's pretty sad. When those people, it's like, hey, there's a whole guy upstairs.
Pathetic loser who died a week ago. We didn't even know.
Yeah. Well, sure.
Yeah. But at that
like
point,
I'm already dead. Like I don't. After I'm dead, like I don't care.
But that goes hand in hand. I think you've been decomposed so bad for 10 days that you're in your mattress.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Chief, are you going to be an organ donor? Or are you an organ donor?
Yeah, I think it says so on my license. Yeah.
All right, just checking.
Why?
Just checking.
Does dying alone imply that no one comes to your funeral either? It's just you're completely alone.
I don't care about that.
Yeah.
What do you mean you don't care about that? Like a 3-car funerals are sad as fuck.
Dave, you would be so angry if we didn't go to your funeral.
I would. Oh, I would. Yeah. I would be like, I don't know if it's actually like a real, but I would try everything in my power to fucking haunt you guys for the rest of the living days.
So you can't say that you don't care.
But I don't want a funeral. Like, go and make some fucking chicken wings at a bonfire and get shit-faced in my honor. I don't want like all the gravestones and shit. Just toss me into a dumpster and let me go. Yeah, I think you'd go.
I would go.
You think I'd go?
Yeah, I think you'd go.
I'd
Nah, you wouldn't want to though, but you'd go out because you're a pussy who doesn't do. He toes the line of societal everything.
No, I'd go. I'd toss in a pack of Orbit gum and fucking.
As a little. I would appreciate that you remember the correct brand.
Grizzly Wintergreen.
Was that Orbit gum really?
Yeah.
Oh,
We've
wow.
talked about this like 100 times.
I know, but I honestly didn't
Orbit.
remember. I just guessed.
But yeah, I'm way more concerned with the years leading up to that death than what happens after I die.
I mean,
You're just sitting there watching the news.
Dude, it's very sad. I always feel bad for old people.
Yeah.
Their partner dies.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times they'll die like right after.
I know.
Yeah.
I also feel like, so my grandpa was in a nursing home for 7 years, so we would go a lot, and just there were so many like these old sad people who are losing it a little bit, who clearly had, the nursing homes do have a distinct smell.
Yeah.
And but they clearly didn't have any family that came to see him with any regularity, so then they would just like gravitate to you, and it's like your life could not be more sad, and that is the worst.
Once I hit a certain age,
but that's how you're living though.
That's how you're dying, Dave. That's
you're
how
slowly
you're
dying that way.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a death though.
It's a death.
Do you know what I'm saying, Ed? You're the commissioner.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying for sure. It's like it's more of like how it went down.
For instance, I'd pretty sure the best way to die would be the gunshot by the head.
I could die alone in a fire. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
What?
I could die alone in a fire.
You know what? I'm
You
going
could
to veto.
also die with somebody in a fire.
I'm going to veto. That's not a death. I need specific deaths.
I mean, I'm dead.
No, so here's my thing. Like, wouldn't you rather someone take a pick that's maybe not that popular?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a strategy that happens all the time.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
But I had alone on my list, but I agreed that it would have been tough to pinpoint exactly, like, is it a method?
I think it's a way to die.
Because if people aren't going to like that pick, guys,
that's how you're living before the death.
I also
better for Tommy.
Right, so you're vetoing. So we have a second.
I'll let it go.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
I'll let it go.
All right, alone. Tommy Smokes, you're up.
All right, I'm going to start off with, like Eddie said, maybe a bit of a chalky pick, but undeniably bad. Drowning.
Yep.
I mean, drowning seems terrible. I've only had one dream of when I died, and it was drowning. I think the helpless feeling of just like seeing the light as you sink to the bottom of the ocean or whatever it could be. But my real drowning fear is actually more of like out of a movie where, to me, it's like you're on a ship in the ocean, and then like there's a crack. Or like you could be in a building, but basically, specifically, the drowning I'm thinking of is when there's like a flood and a bunch of water rising to the ceiling, and you have like your
and you know that you're running out of air, like time's
right.
Time
Like
you're
putting your face to the ceiling, like your mouth to the ceiling, trying to get those last
and you know
breaths of
in
air
the end,
water
it doesn't
comes up
matter
on
because you're losing it. You're losing all that space between the water and ceiling.
Right,
Donnie, do
you're
you
like
want to
slowly
feel this one?
seeing how
I do.
close you are to dying. That's something I think about a lot.
I'm going to disagree with you for drowning, because people say that have been like revived, that have come out of drowning, that it's the most euphoric way to die. Like that second when you just accept that you're dying.
Sign me up for drowning.
You let it go. It's like the craziest, most euphoric experience of your life.
Mm-hmm.
But I think here's the thing, two things. I mean, obviously the people who listen to the podcast, that's a good point. But if you see drowning, it's a first round.
Yeah,
no
for
doubt
sure.
about it.
You're right.
And second thing, I think Tommy had a great explanation for people who are going to listen here, because it's the panic before.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Sure.
I'm thinking Titanic, when that asshole he drops the key and he leaves them behind that gate.
Yeah.
And it's just like coming on jacket like that. That's horrible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, also, it's not euphoric. Like, usually when you're drowning, I feel like you're fighting for your life.
Yes, I'm saying
I'm
like the moment you release and you
Yeah.
accepted death, like you've just given
Well,
up.
that might just be dying could be euphoric.
No,
in
they
general.
say specifically to drowning into like the moment where you
It's less painful,
black
too.
out, where like your
Yeah.
oxygen just gets cut out of your body.
Yeah,
and
that sounds awful.
that there's a moment there where, because people like do drown and then they get
Resuscitated.
brought back. Yeah, they
Yeah.
get resuscitated, and they're like, that was I would do that
Not a
again.
real- not a real death.
all right, quick.
But they
story.
also talk
I'll
about
be very
it.
quick.
We've mentioned
Tommy
this
doesn't
on this
buy it.
podcast before, but they talk about that specifically in the book for The Perfect Storm, where like you've seen like the George Clooney character. Have you seen that movie, Tommy?
Is that the Wahlberg movie?
Yeah, Wahlberg's
Yeah,
in it.
I
George
was
Clooney's in it.
a kid.
I haven't seen it in forever.
So like Wahlberg, like, hey, like let's abandon ship, and Clooney's character's like, we're going down with the ship. Well, in the book, he goes down with the ship. It's a true story. But they talk about what it feels like to drown, and like, it's to Donnie's point where it's just like, it's not that bad.
So
I disagree.
Tommy,
Here we go.
grandparents, they're from Tom's River, New Jersey. They have a pool right on the bay. When I was very young, and I remember this like it was fucking yesterday. I'm talking like 4 or 5 years old young. My mom and my sister were on the dock leading out to the bay. Like I remember they were throwing bread to ducks and watching the ducks eat or whatever. I saw my aunt swimming in the pool, and I ran up, jumped in, and I specifically remember the struggle of drowning. And then I woke up in the hospital with a bunch of nodes and shit attached to me. They said that my grandma came out, dove in. I was floating face up. Otherwise, I would have been dead. And I had lockjaw, so she had to give me CPR through my nose. Jesus. And then they said another 30 seconds. That, like, even floating straight up, I would have been dead. And I remember this so specifically. I don't remember a single thing about pain or anything. Not one thing.
Wow.
Not one thing. I remember it like it was fucking yesterday, and it happened almost 30 years ago.
Can you imagine a world without White Sox Dave?
Do you remember the lockjaw at least?
I don't remember anything other than jumping in. I remember seeing my aunt, and my aunt to this day says she wasn't in the pool, but I specifically remember it. Ed, that's called confabulation. You can look it up. We've talked about confabulation before in a traumatic event.
Drowning, number 2 way that children die. Fun fact, if you listened to Dog Walk a couple weeks ago. Not a fun fact, a very dark fact. Sorry. All right, drowning. White Sox Dave, you're up.
So there's so many chalk answers, and I always try to avoid the chalk answers, but the very first thing that popped in my head and what I'm going to pick with my first pick is the casino torture method. Head in a vice, just straight up like a week long of torture, and they're squeezing it and the blood's popping out. That's the first thing that I thought of, and I'm like, that'd be a fucking awful way to die. And he's like, that's the toughest Irishman I ever fucking met. And like he fucking succumbed. He's like, fuck it, I just want to get this over with. And they shot him in the face.
Head in a vice.
Head in a vice?
Yeah, head in a vice.
Sounds bad.
I thought you were
Can you imagine getting your brains squatted out of your skull?
I honestly can't.
Nope.
I gotta look this up.
Sounds like a bad headache.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Your eyes bulging out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. For some reason, I thought of like the Saw thing where like the blades on your neck.
Those are all the. I hate those movies, by the way. I know they're like people like them, but I can't watch them.
This is like the tool you got in your garage.
Yeah.
That's a vice.
You don't know what a vice is? Ed?
Not really. Vice. Yeah. I don't know what that was called.
I want this common knowledge. I want a common knowledge list for now on that Ed doesn't know. So when I get made fun of,
I don't know
something,
what a vice is either.
I wasn't aware either.
Thank you, Chef Donnie.
Gambling.
So I guess 3 out of 5 didn't know.
What planet am I
Not
on?
coming out. You are on the planet that you consistently think it's your planet, but it's not.
It is my planet.
That's your planet.
Who the fuck doesn't know what a vice is?
Dave, I know what a vice is. These guys didn't take
I know
wood shop.
you do.
They didn't
Tom?
take wood shop.
We didn't have wood shop. No, we had fucking music.
I don't know shit about tools. Look at me.
Yeah, that's as common as a hammer, I feel like.
But looking at this, yes,
That is
Dave, that would
certainly
suck.
not as common as a hammer.
Yeah,
you
you're
never glued 2 pieces of wood together, Tommy. You put it in a vice.
See, this is where it's like your planet's insane for you to say that's as common as a hammer.
Yeah, it's not as common as a hammer.
But it's common.
It's hammer, screwdriver, and then like the next category down to most commonly used things would be vice. Would be
pliers in there.
No, saw, like wrench.
Yeah, I would put those with
Socket
hammer.
I mean, like
Yeah.
a clamp would be.
Yeah.
Well, clamping a vice is a type of clamp. Anyways, we're moving on. You guys should know what a vice is. Dave.
Yeah, this is that. Oh,
yeah,
man.
your eyes popping out, your brain.
Yeah,
you
fuck
just,
that.
but you're alive and conscious during the whole thing, so you're like, dude, I'm fucking dead. Like the worst ways to die, it doesn't matter which way you're actually dying, is when you know that death is on the horizon.
Yeah.
And it's coming at some point.
I don't even like touching my temples. I feel
You feel exposed.
Yeah, like
you
there's
know
no
what I mean?
skull
Like
there.
you just
It's a soft spot.
Yeah, so having that fucking
It's like the Star Wars the little 2-inch gap where like they shoot the thing and it's like we have one weakness, it's the temple.
having that. Yeah, no. All right, Dave. What's your next one?
The Judas Cradle. Do you guys know what the Judas Cradle is, Tommy?
I do not.
So it's an ancient medieval torture method where they would like wrap a metal brace around your back so you were sitting straight up, and then they would pull your arms out and your legs out, and then they would put you on like a pyramid like nail type thing through either your asshole or your vagina if you're a woman. But it was just sharp enough so it would slowly cut through you, and people would watch this in like Town Square.
Fuck.
And you would just slowly sink onto like the nail pyramid thing.
Did they do this to Judas?
They might have. Did they?
It sounds like they probably should have.
They should have, yeah.
Yeah. Damn.
Are you looking it up, Ed? Yeah. I don't recommend it. So, yeah, you're just slowly sitting there and your body weight's like slowly.
I don't even think we should have a graphic this week.
We're not going to put...
I mean, I'm not...
You can actually have a lot of fun with this graphic.
Yeah, Ken Jack's
got all these images saved.
And then eventually it gets up into your like intestines and your bowels and your stomach and shit, and you're just living through the whole thing. I mean, I haven't done too much research on it, but I know that it's not something you'd want to do. It'd be a bad way to die. Are you guys going to shit on my pick, or are you guys going to...
It's like sitting on an orange cone.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And it just cuts up through your body as you're living.
Sounds terrible.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds bad.
Judas Cradle. Tommy, you're up.
All right, this one, I mean, these are all a little dark. This one is specifically a little dark, a little real. But I have a years-long battle with cancer that slowly deteriorates your body and mind, expensive treatments for years that bankrupts you and your entire family.
Years. Probably should have been first overall. Because everybody knows somebody been there.
Slow death from a terminal illness, 5 to 10 years, constant treatment, slowly breaking you down.
Yeah.
How can I quantify just
cancer?
Long-term cancer?
Years-long terminal illness.
Okay, years-long terminal.
I don't think you can take terminal illness.
Yeah, you need to be a little more specific.
Yeah, all right, years-long cancer battle.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is...
Everybody knows someone that's been in that situation, and it's just the worst.
This is obviously the most relatable
for sure.
one to everyone. So,
yeah.
I mean, no.
Yeah. The rest of my picks are a little more lighthearted. I mean, not lighthearted, where this is death, but, you know.
All right.
Anywho.
Yeah. I don't think we really even have to touch on that. It's fucking horrible. Sucks.
Bad.
Chief, you're up.
Ed, I'm going back to a former Dog Walk podcast we did, Unit 731 in Japan.
Buddy.
So I don't know how to describe this, but what they would do is that they would do all these tests on these prisoners of war. They're usually Chinese citizens. And the Japanese would put people out into into the cold, right? So it's below freezing temperature. They wanted to like test resistance to frostbite. So they'd strip these people down naked and tie them to a post. And then every once in a while they'd come by and they'd throw a bucket of water on them. So they just get even like colder and colder and colder. They start to like turn into like a frozen icicle. And they would hit them with a bat or a stick. And as soon as their like limbs sounded hollow, they would bring them inside. And then they're still alive. And they would throw warm water on their frozen body. And that warm water and hot water would cause their skin to split and then peel off their body.
Oh my God.
So then you would, and there was just like run of the mill. They just had this like torture camp where they were just testing out human experiments. And so I guess like the hot and cold water treatment where they just peel your skin off your body with water. Unit 731. Do you remember that, Ed?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
So what was the point of it?
They were like experimenting on their own people.
Or on Chinese people.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
Yeah. So I would say the unit 731 water torture test, like I guess what would we call it? The frostbite test.
Frostbite test.
I would say the frostbite test. Yeah. Dave,
it's got nothing.
I got nothing.
You sure?
I'm very sure I got nothing.
Never heard of that, huh? Thanks for listening to pod.
I don't listen to any podcasts other than the Snake Draft and interviews. I'll listen to interviews.
All right. The frostbite test is back to me. I'm kind of saying in the same vein as burning in a fire. I know this is very specific, but I've always had this irrational fear as a kid, getting burned in an oven.
Like
getting shoved in an oven.
Like the Holocaust?
Yes.
Holocaust style?
Yes, that's fucking insane. Like, imagine just being in there and then turning it high.
Yeah, no, that would
Sounds bad.
suck.
Sounds bad.
We're talking like an oven in your kitchen or like at Auschwitz?
Oven in your kitchen, it doesn't matter.
That wasn't technically an oven, though. That was a gas chamber.
Well, they had ovens, too, didn't they? Didn't they kill people with ovens? Shove them in an oven?
Maybe
that was just the dead bodies. But you're talking, you'll need like a pizza oven. No human adult can fit in like a regular oven. You need like a pizza oven.
Ed, I gotta say that pick really stinks.
You would want to be shoved in an oven?
I don't. No, of course not. But I just think that pick stinks.
I don't hate the pick just because I hate being hot. Like, I don't even want to go outside.
Dude, imagine that. Imagine, like, literally, you just feel it getting hotter and hotter.
Cooking.
And you got nowhere to...
Oh, so it starts from nothing.
Yes.
Yeah, that sucks.
And you have nowhere to find relief. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that sucks.
Can't get out.
You can't change feet because it's just always hot.
Yeah, and your organs start getting... If it's slow enough, you just get cooked from the inside out. Like, your innards get cooked. And yeah, that was
Did someone put you in there or, like, you're stuck?
No, someone stuck you in there. Someone shoved you in there.
Damn.
I'm telling you, it's an irrational fear.
That is irrational. It sounds terrible.
It sounds horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound fun, but for the all intents and purposes of a Snake Draft, a comedy podcast, it's kind of just a lousy pick.
I mean,
that's how I'm justifying it. That makes sense. Does that make sense?
Well,
Donnie?
It's always good to be on the opposite side of you, Dave. Everyone says
That's true.
so I'm happy about it. Donnie, you're up.
All right, I'm gonna go with this is irrational fear. Actually, I don't even know if it's that irrational, but being in an elevator that suddenly drops to the bottom floor.
All you got to do is jump.
So say you're on the 50th floor. It's
I
like
know.
past the point where you're gonna survive. You can try all the fucking tricks. You're in an elevator. You think you're going to your office, slowly riding up. Suddenly, elevator stops. You fall down to the bottom to your death.
Tower of Terror.
Yeah,
there's a whole Disney ride about it.
And you have to go it doesn't happen instantly because let's say it's 45-story building, whatever. You're in New York City, and it's you have that moment of 30-45 seconds of just feeling and not knowing what to do, just being stuck.
Actually,
in an elevator.
Donnie, you'd fall at 10.8 meters per second.
Whatever
so it'd
it
take you
is.
about 4 seconds.
That's still 4 seconds would feel like an eternity.
Yeah,
if you're in
it
an
would feel
elevator.
longer. Yeah, but it wouldn't be.
Physics day.
You would break all the bones in your body would basically shatter, and you die.
Bad.
So you basically just fucking...
I think you ride with like gravity. You're riding with it, and as soon as you hit the ground, like all the shock goes through your body, and you just like fucking shatter.
You're obliterated.
You're obliterated.
Yeah, I think it'd be a pretty quick death though.
Yeah, but that time
you're
knowing that you're falling in an elevator, like I think people get afraid of being stuck or falling out of elevators. Elevators kind of spook people out.
So falling in an elevator?
Elevator crashing to your death. Yeah.
Elevator crashing.
I'm like, that's the whole, like, I remember growing up, like, oh, if the cable snaps, just jump when it's about to get to the first floor. But I would guess, and I've never looked this up or anything, that if you're falling from like that, from a good height, that if you jumped, you would probably hit your head on the top.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter. No, what they say is you're supposed to lie flat to like minimize the shock, but again, from that height, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Really? So yeah, that's
I have an elevator in my apartment building. I take every day. I do a little sign of the cross before I get on. Like let's hope this isn't
because you don't like to die, Donnie. Tommy.
How prevalent is this?
I think it happens. I mean, I don't think it's.
I got stuck in an elevator in college once.
I think elevator deaths
we got
happen.
stuck.
Apartment building across from me.
Very similar to falling 50 stories, Dave. I'm kidding. Yeah, I'd be interested to see how often it happens.
When the last one, I mean, yeah, I can't say for sure when the last one happened. I know it's definitely happened. People have died that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, you're up again.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Avalanche. Being stuck in an avalanche, not dying instantly. You're buried by snow. You don't know which way's up, which way's down. You're yelling. Nobody can hear you. You die a slow death of suffocating and hypothermia.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's like you watch those like I Survived movies and they say it's just fucking brutal.
It would just be terrible because you're compacted in by snow, so you can barely move, and then you just don't know which way's up or down. So even if you start digging, you don't even know if you're going the right way if you're deep enough.
But it's so hard to dig.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're basically hopeless, and you can try to yell, and fucking
no one's gonna hear you.
No one's gonna hear you.
Yeah,
nobody.
Yeah, I need kind of.
I feel like if
space.
I play my cards right, I could avoid an avalanche though.
No.
Like I could make sure I just never put myself.
He's never
in a
gonna be
situation
If you're never
where-
on a mountain, yes. Okay, that's fair.
Right.
But
Tommy, you've never even been on a highway,
according
right?
to plan, I've never driven on a never driven on a highway. So an avalanche. If my life goes according to plan, I'm never putting myself in a position where I'm even able to die from an avalanche. Although, okay, I'm not going to spoil.
You could say that with everything here. Like, I'm not going to be in a situation where someone's going to shove me in a fucking oven.
But so that's what I'm saying is I'm picking things that like could happen.
Well, you can't necessarily control that. The other person could like abduct you and put you in the oven. Tommy, a mountain's not going to come and abduct Tommy.
Yeah.
I kind of think maybe Tommy should be your co-host for this new show.
I've pitched it to him before. I said, Tommy, let me take you around. He does not want to come.
I wouldn't want to come either, Tommy. I like to be on flat ground.
I'll cook like a steak with you or something. I'm not I'm not jumping out of a plane.
Fair enough.
Yeah, just that compact space, like not being able to.
It's a mix of like claustrophobia, suffocation, and then hypothermia. Like three things that like claustrophobia fucking scares the shit out of me. I don't like tight spaces at all.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, all right, I'm up. How about something nice here for a second, and something that we could all chill out and relax with, and that's Miller Lite. Okay. Let's just forget it all.
They love the ad placement today. Yeah.
Let's just forget it all right now and enjoy ourselves. You're with your friends. It's summer, and you're at a concert, maybe laying back at the beach, and it's just everything's nice, and it's not anything other than what we're talking about.
Well, we talked about last meals to start off the show with Donnie. Miller Lite would be in my last meal.
Yeah.
That's what I'm washing it down with.
So, it's a beer for the people. You could depend on that, and you'll always be, you could be in the sanctity, the safety of your own house. So next time you're getting ready to enjoy cold ones with your crew, go to MillerLite.com/redline to find the delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere that they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. Go get some Miller Lite. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your weeks. Enjoy your summer. All right, it's to me. I'm saying in the same vein. I'm saying in claustrophobia. And this is all, like, I'm with Tommy, too. Like, these are all rational fears of mine. And I was obsessed with that Thailand cave story. And I don't know. Like, I was just... we didn't have the show back then, but I'm telling you, like, we would have talked a lot about that on Tuesdays, Chief. So it's getting trapped in a cave. And, like, I have this picture on my phone. I don't know if you've ever seen this, about this guy who got trapped upside down in a cave. You ever seen that?
No.
This guy, like, he was crawling in a cave, and he didn't know that there was like a tunnel that led down. So he went face first, and he was trapped there for like 36 hours, and they couldn't get him out. And so he was literally upside down, just trapped in this cave. Like, well, his blood was rushing to his head, all his organs, and
Jesus.
Like, they couldn't get him out because if they would have had had a pulley system, and if they would have done it, they would have broke his legs. And if you break his legs, he would have went into shock.
Fuck.
And it was like, I'll send you it. It's fucking insane.
Yikes.
I'm gonna pass on that. Thank you, though. I have a kind of a story with this. I've done that without the death part, but I was in prep school. We had a geology class, so we would like hike up the mountain, and then we would go caving. And when when we told us we had to go caving, I'm like, oh, like I've actually done it in Missouri, like these big open caverns. Like, it's actually kind of cool. I did this one, and there was a section, or almost like the Thailand thing, where you had to army crawl, like basically through something the size of a pipe. And I'm like 18 or 19. And it occurred to me, so we're single file, like army crawling. And like in that moment, I'm like, if the person behind me or in front of me like freaks out, then I'm never getting out of here. And it was like, I'm not like, I don't like, I could do, I think, like ride shotgun with Donnie on a lot of these things, and I think I'd be fine. I would never do that again, just because it was like the other people, like, and then you're just dead and you're trapped forever, because how are you going to move a body that can't move while you're in a prone, long crawling army crawl position, like where there's just nowhere to go?
Fuck that.
It was probably the most scared I've ever been in my entire life. And when I say probably, I mean definitely. I haven't been that scared before since, and it I remember getting out of the cave being like, fuck this. Like that. And I like told the teacher, I'm like, you should not have people doing that.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Horrifying.
So how long was the tunnel you said again?
The whole, like, we were underground for probably 3 hours, and maybe that section took us like maybe a half hour to get through.
Well, you had to army crawl for 30 minutes?
But this is like my memory, you know? It felt like, I know the entire like day, the trip took 3 hours. The army crawl position, I don't know exactly, but it felt very long.
There are stories too, like similar to that, where you're crawling through a cave or something small, and it's slowly getting smaller, but you don't notice it until you get stuck, and then it's too late. Then you're fucking stuck in a cave. You can't move your shoulders. Like Chief, like if you're in that situation, you don't notice it getting tighter and tighter until you're stuck.
Yep. Yeah. Same thing goes with cave diving. Those people are crazy.
That's a combination of drowning and being stuck in a cave.
Yeah.
Like, that was scary. Yeah, that's nuts.
It's literally pitch black and you're underwater, and these people are going into these caves, and like nobody has explored a lot of these.
No, it's so easy to get lost in a cave too. Like there's stories where I grew up.
Shit.
Outside like northern Minnesota, these kids were running around the fields and I don't know wherever they were, and he just fell. There was like a little hole. He didn't notice it fell, and it was right into a cave.
Bruce Wayne?
What's that?
Sounds like Batman's. I said, was his name Bruce Wayne?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a Bruce Wayne situation. But that's how they discovered the cave. But can you imagine that? And if you're just alone and that happened, and no one fucking knows, and you're just in a cave, that's it.
Yeah, trapped in a cave, man. That would be fucking. And we haven't even talked about the fact that it's pitch dark.
Yeah.
You can't see
and
shit.
Cold and wet. Yeah.
Cold, wet, and it's just it's awful.
Can't see your hand in front of your face.
Bats.
Yep.
Nope. Like you took me back to a bad place.
So I got you.
Yeah.
You like that pick.
I do.
So that is it's trapped in a cave.
Yep.
All right.
Chief, you're up.
I'm going with an Oregon Trail way to die, which is dysentery, which basically you just shit yourself to death. And it's uncontrollable, unrelenting diarrhea. And I think, in terms of Tommy, I feel like that's relatable, like an embarrassing way to die. You just can't stop shitting yourself. And eventually you just get so dehydrated from shitting yourself that your organs shut down. And so like that's how you die. It's actually dehydration, but you lose all of your water through your ass and you just shit forever until you're dead. So dysentery is what that's called.
I mean, I've been hungover a few times to the point where I thought I've had dysentery.
Yeah?
Yeah, bad.
So your dysentery hits home for you too? Did you shit yourself when you were doing this?
I haven't shit myself in a long time, but I mean...
When was the last time you shit yourself?
I tell the story all the time. It was on my way home the next morning after a Kenny Chesney concert. I was on a divvy, and... I had Sarpinos at like 3 a.m. and it was a bold move to have Sarpinos at 3 a.m. and ride a bike the next morning. And I was looking for an alley in broad daylight to just shit my brains out. I eventually got to my apartment, but I got to the steps and I couldn't move. And if I would have taken one step, I would just shit everywhere. So finally I just said, fuck it. And I shit all down my leg and in my pants and went up, cleaned up, threw everything out, and took a shower and hit the couch.
No one was the wiser.
Yeah.
So how many cases would you guess there are of this still?
In modern times?
Yeah. I have the number in front of me.
I feel like it's probably something that's pretty curable.
Fewer than 200,000.
Okay. I would have guessed more, or I would have guessed less than 100,000 or 50,000.
How do you get it? Is it from like drinking bad water or something?
Usually it's like it's a bacterial.
Contaminated food or water.
Yeah.
All right.
So if you're out on the Oregon Trail.
Dysentery.
Yeah.
I actually kind of want to do like an Oregon Trail type trip.
Eventually. I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Not in a wagon. I don't want to do it.
No, I want the ox.
You want the wagon?
And I want to Ford Rivers. And
you would absolutely die. You would die.
No shit, I would.
Then why do you want to do it?
I mean, I'm joking.
Okay.
Do you think that, how much fucking physical activity that would be? You think I actually want to do that?
I mean, if you're just in the chuck wagon, you're just hanging out.
Yeah, if I was in like a nice Winnebago with air conditioning.
Yeah, the air conditioning is key. Yeah.
All right, dysentery. Tommy, you're up.
All right. I don't know how much people are going to agree with this pick, but this is the number one way I fear to die. And it's realistic, and I think about it every day. Carbon monoxide poisoning. I'm just so afraid that like the detector maybe in my apartment doesn't work, or there is none, and you can't smell it, you can't see it. And I feel like we don't really talk enough about it. Like there could just be a carbon monoxide leak in your apartment that slowly kills you and you have no idea. And it happens a lot. And I think about it a lot. This first really came to fruition last, little over a year ago. I was in my last apartment and I was like using the stove, and I don't really know how to fucking use a stove. So something went off and like the carbon monoxide detector.
What do you mean you don't know how to use a stove?
It's difficult, the gas.
You turn a knob to a number that says like on the packaging.
Yeah, but sometimes it's like that leak in, they get a gas leak from a stove. And I called like my super, and he came up and his solution was he just took the carbon monoxide detector off the ceiling, and he was like, yeah, it must be a low battery. And I was like, no, I don't think you understand. Like, it was going off as if there's carbon monoxide in the apartment. Like, maybe the best move isn't just remove the carbon monoxide detector. Like, that seems a little bit backwards to me. So he just took off the carbon monoxide detector. And I was like, maybe like we replace that like in a few minutes. And then he came back up with another one. He was like, where's that worried kid? Like, put the carbon monoxide detector back up. And ever since that moment, I made sure the one in my parents' house is replaced and new and refreshed. I make sure the one in my apartment is new and refreshed. I'm just definitely afraid of dying by carbon monoxide. We probably don't even have one of this fucking off.
You might be getting poisoned right now.
I literally could be right now. I'm in a dark room with lights on. I could feel myself sweating a little bit.
That's like a neurotic Tommy pick. That's what I thought he would go with.
It's valid.
But it's such a painless way to die. You don't even notice. You pass out.
Slip into
that's
sweet.
What's worse to me.
Never-ending darkness.
I don't know. I don't think that'd be that bad. You're going about your day, and then hey, that's it. You never mind.
I don't want to die that way.
Definitely the most senseless way.
Yeah.
You'd be right. Like, come on, change a battery. But
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's prevalent. And that's what you said your list was going to be. So, White Sox, Dave, you're up.
I was trying to avoid these ones, but this is it's obviously been in the news for probably about 10 years now. Longer than that. But Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS, is got to be the worst fucking death on the planet.
Yeah.
Like, to get real, like you know it's a death sentence. There's nothing, and we've known about Lou Gehrig's disease since the 1930s or whatever, when Lou Gehrig had it himself, and we still haven't really gotten too far into finding a cure, or like a nice way to combat it where you can live with it, but it doesn't kill you. And it's a death sentence, and you know that your days are numbered. Your body just completely starts to shut down, like little by little, every single day. And once you get that news, it's got to be horrific. It's got to be horrific.
I'm gonna say, I mean, I agree. Obviously, a good way to die would be like getting your own disease, like getting a never before seen disease that you get then named after you.
Like starting a coronavirus.
I got the White Sox Dave disease. What?
I got the White Sox Dave.
That's a nice little flip.
Yeah. But no, Lou Gehrig. There's been too many things. Lou Gehrig has cornered the ALS market. Like you're not taking the name from him.
But now it's not. I feel like it's more people call it ALS than Lou Gehrig's now. Wouldn't you say so?
I think that's changed in my lifetime. Yeah.
I would say so.
I would say so too.
Yeah.
Awful.
Shout out Pete Frates.
Awful.
Yeah.
Frades
for everything that he's done with that. By
awful,
the way,
dude. Yeah, that's an awful disease. You just lose control slowly but surely.
Mm-hmm. And your brain's all there too. Is the thing. It's like just your body.
You're in a prison.
Yeah, you're in a prison. Exactly, you're in a prison.
It is horrendous. Dave, you're up again.
After this one, I had a fucking horrible fear of tornadoes after watching the movie Twister when I was like 9, and I grew up out west. So, when you would like go to the second story of my house, you could see like straight west where the weather would come from, and if I would see like dark clouds coming towards us, I would fucking lose my mind. Tornadoes. It just getting lifted up like the cows in the movie Twister and just thrown a fucking 3 miles away. Absolutely not. I hate tornadoes to this day. We just had them, 2 weeks ago in the west suburbs. Awful. I hate tornadoes.
Would you ever go storm chasing?
Fuck no. Now I think I could probably be talked into it, but when I was younger, it was like I would get that gut feeling, like that rotting feeling in my stomach, knowing that bad weather is on the horizon just because of that stupid movie.
I know. I always get like a little rush when there's a storm coming though. Like I don't know. I think I'd like to do the storm chase thing once.
I'm with you on that, Chief. I remember like as a kid growing up whenever there'd be a bad storm and the city's like tornado sirens would go off, I'd always be like, oh fuck, here we go, like it's going down. Let's see what happens.
You guys don't kind of
Let's
deal
hunker
with that.
down. Let's hunker down.
Do you guys have? Did you have tornado sirens?
We did.
Yeah, everyone does.
I don't know if they have them like downtown because they have them like it's the first Tuesday of every month or something. They'll test them, and every once in a while you'd forget what day it was, and that was just a test. It's like, oh fuck, here comes a tornado. When I was a kid, I would hate those noises.
Or like the drills in school where you have to go by the lockers.
Yeah, and you put your head over it. Yeah, right.
We did not have those on Long Island. We did not have
no,
you did it.
No, that's a very real thing out here. Yeah, I don't know that one.
Absolutely. It was my number one fear as a kid.
It's more so like it just sneaks up on you. Like you're not ready, but if you're ready, like it seems like if you you know what to do.
If you get to the basement or like the bathtub, I think you're. I mean, everything's gonna get fucked up, but I think dying from it would be. Maybe if you're on like the side of the road, like you're in your car, like that would be the worst, and then you have to pull over and get into a ditch. Like that would be probably the worst if you're out in the field.
Yes, agreed. All right, tornado. You don't like that one, Chief?
No, I think that's a good one. I do.
That one's more personal.
Yeah, I never had like this fear about it.
It was my number one irrational fear as a kid.
I remember like seeing those after that movie came out and be like, "Ooh, the skies are green."
Yes,
like,
exactly. The green skies, right?
Green skies. I don't know if you guys get that. But like that's a Western suburbs thing for sure.
I mean, it's not city.
The only I never had a fear about it until the one in Alabama, maybe like 2009 or 11 or something.
I don't think I know that one.
Oh, that like it was almost hit Bryant Denny Stadium.
Did it?
Yeah, and they have that story of the kid who I think he was either the punter or the long snapper, where he was living on the campus and he was like he and his girlfriend were like hunkered down, like they got in a closet, and she got sucked out. And he didn't.
Jesus.
And then they found her like a mile away. And yeah, it was.
Has anyone ever
bad story?
Has anyone ever lived through like gotten sucked into a tornado and shot out and lived? Do you know? That would be interesting.
I think that's happened.
That would be crazy. That'd be fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's a story to tell. All right, tornado off the board. Tommy Smokes, you're up again.
All right, this is something I think about every single day. Again, as I walk to and from work. It's, like how fire escapes have ladders at the end of them? Yeah. I'm afraid of a ladder not being too sturdy on a fire escape and falling down and killing me as I walk underneath.
So a faulty fire escape?
A faulty fire escape ladder falling
That's
down.
So specific. I will,
when I think about it, I will try to not walk underneath them to avoid this. But I mean, think about it. Like there's, especially if you live in a city like New York, Chicago, there's so many fire escapes. I don't know how those fucking ladders are glued onto there or whatever. Like I feel like there could be one idiot who didn't properly put the ladder on there, or it's rusty, it's old, and it just falls right down as you're walking to work, sipping your coffee.
The timing would have to be so perfect on that for it to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
Has that ever happened, you think?
Tommy, do you when you're walking to work, do you like avoid manhole covers and storm drains and things like that?
So I thought about those too. This was my pick here, was either like the manhole cover or the ladder, but I just chose with the ladder. I feel like, the manhole one's a little more basic. I want to be a little more unique. The ladder falling from the sky. I mean, anything falling from like a high building in the city, but specifically I look at those ladders and I turn around, I say, not today, ladder. You're not getting Tommy today.
Have you seen the movie What About Bob? You should watch that movie.
With Bill Murray?
Bill Murray, yeah. He's afraid of everything. He's like hypochondriac. You would like that movie. What About Bob?
Why?
I mean, I think you could emulate with the character pretty well.
That's like one of those. At least people would read about you in the paper and be like, "How about this poor fucker?" Like
be like, "Can you believe this happened to that guy?"
Yeah, exactly.
Like a "What are the odds?" death. You don't want a "What are the odds?" death.
Yeah, you'd be that guy.
Yeah.
Chief.
All right, I have a clip pulled up that's a minute long. I can play it into the mic. But I'm going with radiation poisoning, and they talk about.
I just started Chernobyl the other night.
Okay, so they talk about, this is from Chernobyl, the show. And they talk about what happens to your body when you get radiation poisoning.
Can you send it? Can you guys play it real quick or no? Yeah. if you send it to them.
Okay.
But we could talk about the situation. I haven't seen Chernobyl. I heard it was really good.
Yeah,
it's excellent.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's
but
great,
don't you start to vomit and like your skin blisters? It just
that's why I want to play the clip.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send it to. I almost sent it to Tom. And so this is just like a YouTube clip. But that was so everyone's like, oh, like how bad was? I sent it as a text, Tom. So I just sent it as an email. Obviously, what an idiot. But yeah, everyone always talks about like, oh, like the radiation poisoning, this and that. Like that's like a terrible way to die. Mm-hmm. And then they describe what actually. Yeah, Tom, if you want to just search. Sorry, this is fucking terrible. Chernobyl episode 3 radiation effects. It'll pop it up.
He's pulling it up
there,
now.
Scenes?
No.
Right there, radiation effects. Yeah.
Right there. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Tom's already watched it, it looks like.
Yeah,
I think
we before in a pod.
Yeah.
Here we go.
To our boys.
The divers.
The divers, the firefighters, the men in the control room. What does the radiation do to them, precisely?
Oh, the level some of them were exposed. Ionizing radiation tears the cellular structure apart. The skin blisters, turns red, then black. This is followed by a latency period. The immediate effects subside. The patient appears to be recovering. Healthy even, but they aren't. This usually only lasts for a day or two. Then the cellular damage begins to manifest. The bone marrow dies. The immune system fails. The organs and soft tissue begin to decompose. The arteries and veins spill open like sieves, to the point where you can't even administer morphine for the pain, which is unimaginable. Within 3 days to 3 weeks, you're dead.
Good.
Sounds terrible. I've also heard it described as like 1 million microscopic bullets, like that you can't see, just flying through your body like at 8,000 miles an hour. So you're just getting torn apart, but nobody can see it. So it attacks like your actual literal cells just fall apart. And in that clip, he was saying like you can't administer morphine. It's because your veins and shit have just dissolved. So you're just kind of just bleeding out slowly internally as your skin's like kind of melting off. Your organs are failing. You have like the worst pain imaginable in all your joints and bones. You have no marrow, and you're just left there. There's nothing you can do. You're just dying, and you're in the worst pain imaginable.
And he said it was 3 weeks. That's brutal.
3
that's not
3 days
slow.
to 3 weeks.
I mean, that's very slow.
Just be in that kind of pain.
End me, man. Just end me.
Yeah, it's bad.
Bad. So radiation poisoning would be my answer.
Your pick?
My
Okay.
pick, yeah.
All right, so back to me. I'm going to go with falling off a cliff and breaking your legs, where you're just fucked.
So you're out hiking or something alone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got to like army crawl. Who knows how long you're basically left for dead.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
falling off a cliff.
Falling off a cliff.
This is one that just doesn't apply to you, right, Tommy? Because you're never going to be near any cliffs.
I avoid cliffs like the plague. Like I avoid cliffs.
What about the plague? Would that be a good way to die?
Hiking?
We don't
bubonic plague.
Yeah, we don't give away picks on this show, though, Dave.
Well, he just did.
I mean, it doesn't apply to me either, but that still would suck. That'd be a terrible.
One thing I worry about is like, I used to go on a lot of summer vacations as a kid with my family. We'd go out west a lot, and like sometimes you drive up the mountains. I remember, I think it was Pikes Peak in Denver, Colorado, and like there's no guardrail on like the one side, so you're just driving, and it was just a constant fear of falling over that cliff every single second.
I've done
something falling from up there and crashing the car. Just petrifying.
Yeah. I had a similar thing with that where I was out at a wedding in Palm Springs, and I was taking a different way back to the airport than I came in, and I didn't fill up for gas, and like the GPS just took me into literally like these just mountains that are there in California, no cell reception, running out of gas. I don't know like how far I am, where the nearest gas station is. I eventually just on a whim, I turned down and went onto a Indian reservation, and they had a gas station there for the reservation. But it's the same thing, Tommy. They have like all these winding, twisty roads where like you can't see like 30 feet ahead because it's around a bend and it's a 2-lane road with no guardrails. So I'm like, if I run out of gas, someone's going to turn around this corner, hit my car. We're both going off the edge and we're dead. And that was the second scariest I've ever been behind the kid. Yeah. This was just in like April.
I'm pulling all these bad memories out.
Yeah. Well, just 2. Never had radiation poisoning.
No, both were my picks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure.
Yeah. I mean, just picturing being left there in like a hot ass climate, and you're just fucked.
You're fucked. Yeah. And you're in pain.
Yeah, you're in a lot of pain. Donnie, you're up.
I have been eaten alive by piranhas. So it's slow. They're tiny fish, and once they start, they don't stop, and they're jumping out of the water, biting on your neck, jumping down. Once you walk into a pack of piranhas, there's no chance you're getting out alive.
Game over. Amazon.
That's it, yeah. A lot of shit in the Amazon jungle that fucking would scare the shit out of me, but piranhas especially, just being eaten alive by, like the idea of fish with razor sharp killer fish, fuck that.
That's swarming like packs.
Yeah, huge packs, and they can jump feet out of the water and really get you.
Those always fucked me up. Those fishes that could jump.
Yeah, fish that could, and it's slow too. They're just slowly sawing your fucking flesh away till they get to the organs. I don't know, man. That would suck.
So this was back at the start of quarantine when everybody was just bored out of their fucking skulls. I would just randomly hit different YouTube videos, and I found this guy. His name's Bearski Method. He's like Norwegian or some shit, and he's got piranha tanks, and he goes out in his backyard and catches little frogs and shit to feed them. That was going to be my next pick because it's like you see these fucking piranhas, these I'm not talking little frogs, we're talking bullfrogs, and I'm like watching this, I'm like, this is completely fucked up. Like, get this off my screen. They're down to nothing within seconds.
Yeah,
how fast they eat them.
Yeah.
Just it's like crazy. 5-6 piranhas in one normal sized fish tank, eating entire bullfrogs instantaneously.
Right. I'm just curious how they came to be, like what they evolved from to just be killer, like
I think about that stuff all the time.
Right?
Yeah.
Because they're not big either. They're not like sharks. They're not like whales. They're like very small.
They're like bluegill size.
They're like this big. Yeah, 4 inches long.
That is crazy.
Wild.
I've thought about I knew so I figured eating alive would get to. I think about that with rats in New York City, like falling in a subway crate or something, and then rats just crawling all over your body and gnawing at you and chewing at you as you suffocate underneath them.
Didn't that just happen out there? Like someone fell into a rat pit? Where was that? That wasn't too long ago, like a month or 6 weeks ago.
I think it was on like 7th Avenue. They fell.
Yeah, like right by the fucking office. Yeah, down a storm drain, and it was like a sinkhole maybe. It was in the news very recently.
Trying to get me scared?
Yeah, that's what I was doing. That's why I said 7th Avenue. Yeah.
All right, one more, Donnie.
This is my last pick?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. Okay, I'm going to go. This is an accidental death, so that's part of it, the shock factor of it. You're in a bathtub and you accidentally drop in a hairdryer or whatever, and you electrocute yourself to death on accident.
That's really bad. That's, you know how I always say I don't care what happens to me after I die, or I said that earlier. That, like the notion that my mom would think that I killed myself, I would feel so guilty about that, even though I'm dead.
Right.
Yeah. So that would be very bad.
I'm sure that's pretty painful too.
I would imagine.
Fucking electrocution too.
You're
just going numb.
I got a bad memory with that actually.
Yeah?
When I was very little, my sister was taking a bath, and I remember going into the bathroom and plugging in an adding machine. Remember those old adding machines?
Yeah.
In the bathroom, and I put it on the side of the bathroom.
How old were you?
I was young as fuck.
Okay.
And it's like, I still think about it. Like,
could have killed your sister.
If that thing fell in, like my mom came in, like, oh my, like she freaked out and like pulled it out. You know what I mean? But yeah, could have killed her easily.
Yeah, that was always. I feel like that's a huge childhood fear. Like especially your parents, like, do not go anywhere near a bathtub with anything plugged in.
Yeah, and it was literally on the edge of the tub.
That's oh my god.
I know, it was on the edge of the tub.
That's fucked up, Ed.
I know. I still think about it sometimes.
Damn.
I think about it like I'm charging my phone as I shower, and then I get out of the shower and I like unplug it. Like I could get electrocuted in that moment.
Have you ever had it? Like I've done it before where I have wet hands and I unplug something and I got like a little whoa, like I was like, fuck, that hurt. Imagine what it's like when you're in a bathtub full of water.
Yeah.
So we had an electric fence for the dogs growing up, and I remember being like, this is fucked up. We're gonna zap their dog. So I like tested on myself to see.
Did you put it on your neck?
No, I just held it in my hand, and unpleasant. Yeah. It's unpleasant. So I would not want to be. I'm sure that's
that was
a way
the stipulation when I adopted Ace. Was no electric fences.
That's what the shelter said.
Yeah,
interesting.
Okay. Back to me, my final pick. I'm just going to take this because I've always said this to people, like in my personal life, and it's always a fear of mine, and I think it's one of the worst ways to die, and I'd be a fraud if I didn't take it. It's just being stranded in the ocean.
Have you ever seen that movie, Open Water?
Yeah, it's with Aaron Rodgers' fiance.
Horrible movie. Horrific movie.
So there's...
Am I thinking of the right one?
There's a Shouldn't Be Alive about a guy who literally just floated in the ocean for 24 hours. And then there's another one, a guy who lived at sea for like
436 days.
Something like that. Yeah. And it was like it's terrifying.
I
like
was just reading about that guy.
Yeah, you're in the ocean. The one I'm thinking of was a little less than that. It was like 88 days or something like that. But this guy who was floating, his plane crashed. He was going, skydiving, and he went into the water and he just floated there for 24 hours. Like, first off, you're treading water. He said when it became dark, he couldn't see his hand in front of his face.
Wow.
Because you're out in the pitch black ocean. Like, if you ever look, I think about it. You look out on fucking Lake Michigan, and you can't see anything, dude. Your picture just being in there, in that water, just floating.
Darkness is terrifying in and of itself.
Yes.
The open ocean is terrifying too. Just looking everywhere you look, and it's nothing but water. Is scary.
And the irony is, what they say is it's the ocean. It's the biggest bodies of water you could possibly have, but it's the biggest desert because you can't fucking drink it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So you're gonna fucking.
Yeah.
The one I was talking about was this guy who was a Mexican fisherman, and he was like down like the way southern coast of Mexico, and he's like, like a storm's coming, we'll go out. They have like a little like 30-foot boat, like a little small, basically like a canoe with a motor on it, and they go out and they get caught in the storm. His like fishing buddy gets knocked overboard. He gets blown out to sea. The engine dies, and he lived somehow. And they found him in like the South Pacific Ocean. He lived out at sea for 436 days, over a year, just out in this rickety little boat off of that.
How did he survive? Like, what did he eat and like drink?
I think, he had like fishing equipment, and then he would like collect rainwater. And like when they found him, he was like a skeleton basically, because he had been out at sea for that long, and sunburned, like blisters everywhere.
Oh, man.
But he did live. Like, he lived in that boat for 436 days.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is the movie I was talking about. It's called Open Water. It came out in 2003. I saw it in theaters. It was fucking terrible. I remember this chick and her fiance go on like a tropical vacation. They go scuba diving, and I remember they
get left, right?
There was like 50 people on this scuba extravaganza, and they miscounted the people on the boat, and then her thing got or their like ropes that are connected to the boat so you don't drift too far off got cut, but the numbers still said that the correct amount of people were on the boat, so they just drove off without them. And they were floating at sea. The guy got eaten by a shark, and then she just was floating endlessly, and eventually just took off her life preserver and was like, fuck this, I'm just gonna go, I'm done.
I have like irrational fear of being in the open ocean and being crushed by a shipping, like a freighter boat. The hulls of those boats scare the shit out of me. They look like missiles, and they're so big. I don't know what it is, but I've had like multiple nightmares where I'm just being crushed by the hull of a shipping container boat. I don't like that at all.
You ever seen the last Indiana Jones movie?
No, I have not. No.
There's a scene where they're like doing a speedboat. They're in a chase, and they're in one of those wooden speedboats, and they're like going through these two ships that are like coming together, and like that. That's like your worst fear. It's an awesome scene. It's a great chase scene.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah,
I fucking hate that.
All right, Chief, you're up.
All right, so I want people. This has happened in real life. My answer is getting crushed by other people. So this was like a tragic thing that happened in England in a soccer game, where they had all these people trying to like rush the field, and certain people got like caught up against a fence, and they were just like pinned there. They couldn't move, and they eventually like were crushed and suffocated by the other people. And then the other one, like, he lived obviously, but Battle of the Bastards, where Jon Snow is just like getting all these like people, like he's trying to like struggle up through like this like dog pile of people, and there's more like dead bodies being thrown on him, and he's like gasping for air underneath all these people, and like he's about to die. And then like the veil comes and like knocks all those people out, and he like lives. He climbs to the top of all those dead people and living people. Just getting crushed to death, like the
great pick.
Yeah. So pick. By other people.
Because I mean, I fucking those dog piles, that scares the fuck out of me.
Like after a World Series and shit. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah. Fuck that.
We were never any good, so we never had to deal with this. But I've always like seen it in hockey, especially because they do the dog piles, and it's like, well, those are knives. Like everyone's got knives attached to their feet where they could nick an artery in your glove because everyone's gloves and helmets are off. Like that could very easily happen where if there's a dog pile in hockey and someone just gets cut and dies.
And like storm chasing, like I get why they don't want people rushing the courts.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Well, it's like on Black Friday, you hear every year somebody gets trampled to death in a stampede. Like that happens. That's pretty common.
I remember as a kid, like, maybe you're 8 or whatever, you're play wrestling with friends, like in your basement or something. And if I was ever pinned on the bottom of the pile, I would instantly yell like, I can't breathe. And like make sure that it ended immediately because I wanted to avoid that happening. So, it wasn't a big play.
You sounded like a lot of fun.
I can't breathe.
It'd be like 3 seconds.
That's funny. That's funny. And this plays into my number one pick was the burning in the fire. I don't know if people have seen the video, but that's one of the most horrifying videos I've ever seen. It's called like the station fire in like Rhode Island or something. And it was at like a club.
Oh, and the roof collapse or whatever.
Yeah, it was set from the roof, and there's a bunch of people in the doorway just jammed, and it is like sad. It's horrifying. It's bad. So
dozens of people died in that, right?
Dude, like 100 people. Yeah, it was bad. Tommy, you're up.
All right. My last one's a very like 2020, 2021 fear. And it again might be more applicable to like city people or just my daily life, but it's a relatively new fear of mine that I started thinking about recently. It's being at a restaurant or a bar doing outdoor dining on the street and a car crashing into you and dying as you eat dinner. That's something I hadn't thought about until a few months ago. And then I think it might have happened in the city or Brooklyn or something. And now, pretty much no more outdoor dining for me. Like that, once that fear entered my head, I was like, yeah, I think I'm all set with outdoor dining. I'll head inside. That's a
the New York setup for outdoor dining is absurd. Like they're just like, we're going to put it in the street.
Yeah.
You're asking
it's not even that irrational of a fear. Like cars crash into each other all the time. Like
I love it. I think it's great now.
What?
I said I love the outdoor dining now. It just opens up so much more
I
space.
loved it too until this thought crossed my mind, Donnie.
We don't really have that sort, like the way you guys do it in New York where they built those structures literally on the road. Like we don't really have that in Chicago. So I found that quite jarring. I had the same fear. Like it didn't stop me from eating outside, but I'm like, this could be a problem.
What about?
Yeah, like I don't know if our listeners in like wherever Nebraska are going to relate to this one as much, but New York City people, something to keep your eye on next time you're outdoor dining.
But even if you got a seat close to the window, like close to the door, like I know it's different in New York because there's so much traffic you can't really go fast. But if you're here on near like a busy street and you got that first seat, like a car could bust right through the window, and you know what I mean? Like someone loses control. That happens all the time. So
yeah, definitely. Just being inside a store or something and a car crashing through the window.
Will you really not do this anymore?
I'll do it, but I do it less than I do, and I'll maybe try to get the seat where I feel like a little safer.
Mm-hmm.
So
you could move, let Hubs have his back to the road.
Yeah. I'm not warning anybody.
Yeah,
that's survival of the fittest right there. If Hubs is willing to send his back to the road, and that's just Darwinism at play.
He's not. I'm playing chess, not checkers. He's not thinking that way. Like tough luck, Hubs.
All right, Dave, Mr. Irrelevant.
Tommy started talking about it when so my last pick was going to be Death by Piranhas if it got to me, but then Tommy started talking about it. This was going to be my next pick. Kind of gave it away. I wished that he wouldn't have, but nobody took it in the end anyways. I'm talking about the metal bucket rat death from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm talking about, Ed? They strap a metal bucket to you and they put a rat in it and on your stomach. in your intestines.
Like
and
they
the
take a lit torch or whatever, and they light the bucket so it gets hot, and then the rat starts freaking out and like chews through your intestines, and then you fucking die.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, it's bad. I didn't like that scene.
That's a bad one.
That's bad.
What was the kid's name? Gendry? Was that? No, it wasn't Gendry. That Arya.
Theon? No.
It was Arya, the fat kid.
Hot Pie.
Oh.
And then.
I think it
what
was.
What the fuck's the kid's name?
It wasn't Hot Pocket or something.
Hot
Pie.
No, it wasn't him.
Hodor? Reek?
Hold on.
No, it wasn't Reek.
Well, regardless.
Well,
I know what you mean.
Everyone remembers that scene, just not that well, apparently.
And but the most fucked up thing about it was how nonchalant the like people torturing, like exacting the torture methods were. Like, yep, bring the next kid, and they're like, yep, strap the bucket, yep, light the bucket, and I was like, dude, that's really fucked up. That like there's a rat like eating its way through that guy's intestines right now.
Oh yeah. Super.
The torture I feel like we could do a whole draft just on ancient torture methods.
Oh,
Because I had so many on my list. I was like, I don't want to do all medieval shit, but like that in and of itself, that's a whole nother.
Are we doing honorable mentions now?
Yeah. Hold on. I'm going to read this. Also, I'm kind of in debate. I don't know if we're going to do a graphic or not. Maybe not.
You might need a graphic. I don't know.
We'll see.
Might be words only.
Yeah, maybe words only.
Old school.
But maybe not. Whatever. Donny hanged, drawn, and quartered. Elevator crashing to death, avalanche, eaten alive by piranhas, accidental electrocution, Eddie burning in fire, shoved in an oven, trapped in a cave, falling off a cliff and breaking legs, stranded in the ocean, Chief alone, the frostbite test, dysentery, whatever, radiation poisoning, getting crushed by people, Tommy drowning, years-long cancer, carbon monoxide, faulty fire escape ladder, falling on head, car crashing in a restaurant, White Sox Dave, head in a vice, Judas Cradle, Lou Gehrig's disease, tornado, metal bucket, rat death. Any honorable mentions?
Yeah, so I watched Django Unchained was on, I think it was on Showtime the other night, and I watched it, and that scene where they have the guy ripped apart by dogs.
Yeah.
If Donnie hadn't taken the piranha one, I think I was going to take that at some point. But any like basically just being eaten alive by another animal, that because you're feeling that, right? You're probably feeling that for a while, and just like the sheer panic of like these animals just like ripping your flesh off your body. That seems very, very, very bad.
Yeah.
I had accidentally being like sucked into a wood chipper. Or sucked into a jet engine. Both of those, like accidentally, like you're a little too close and you get, and that's it.
Yeah, sucked in. Okay, that's good.
I had quite a few.
Yeah,
I choking just like on a meal and nobody being there and just suffocating or whatever.
Mozzarella sticks almost got me when I was 7.
Yeah,
I almost had to be given the Heimlich.
Deep dish for me.
For real?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You had to have the Heimlich too?
No, not Heimlich, but you know.
So this is a controversial one. And like this is how everyone says is the best way to die, so I wasn't even going to bother. I don't want to die in my sleep. I do not want to just wake up one day or not wake up one day and be dead. Like I want to know that I'm dying. Does that make sense?
No,
like,
it doesn't at all. I mean, it makes sense, but that's crazy talk.
No, I know. It's something I feel like everyone should go through at some point in their life is dying and experiencing that. I don't want to like randomly go to bed one night and just die. So that's more of just like a fear. Stray bullet, as if I'm just walking through the city and then slowly bleeding out, falling through a manhole, plane crash, a building collapsing, like recently happened. Now I think about that happening in my building, eaten alive by animal, freezing to death, plane crash. I had lost at sea, a bridge collapsing. You're driving over a bridge and it just falls down. And then an accidental strangling when I'm sleeping. Like I wear a chain and sometimes I worry that it might strangle me at night or falling asleep with headphones.
I'm actually shocked that you go to bed with a chain on.
I'm shocked he goes to bed at all.
I know.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I don't think a plane crash would bother me as a ways to go. Because then it's like you're going down. There's nothing you can do. You kind of have time to, you would think
that fucking.
You'd have your time to make your peace.
I think that time would be worse. Yeah, I guess you can make your peace,
Yeah.
but just the hysteria on the plane would probably be not fun.
I would take some 3-Chi and just be like zonk and be fine. I think.
And no one brought up animal attack really besides piranhas.
I had mauled by a bear
Yeah.
too. I had that. I had death by lava. Like lava is so slow that if you're slowly like being burned by lava, like feet first. And the same thing, I had like crushed by a tank feet first, which tanks.
I just
so
watched
slow.
Band of Brothers. There's a scene where that exact thing happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cassowaries.
Cassowaries would be bad.
Yeah.
I mean, no one say like medieval crucified would
Yeah,
be
crucified
would be a bad
yeah.
one.
All right, boys. This was something.
I have no idea. Like these are, I have no idea who has like the best, who has the worst. Like they're all so all over the place that like this could go anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely could. Go watch Die Trying.
Yeah, check it out. Thanks.
So you already did the one you did school bus races.
Just did the school bus race. Yep.
What else is coming?
We got a whole slew of episodes planned.
Okay.
Nothing locked in. Like next one's locked in, but I don't want to say yet what it is. But I'm excited. It's gonna be way more intense than the school bus race.
Sweet.
It's gonna ramp up.
So go watch Donnie do a bunch of stuff.
Where he might die, and
Yeah.
Tommy's gonna come with him on a few.
Yeah.
We'll bring smokes
now.
for sure.
Donnie, we'll do outdoor dining in the city.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good. I like that.
All right, Tommy, Donnie, thank you. Thank you everybody for listening. That's it for today. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll see you then.